Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to share a message that contrasts two powerful forces in life. Two powerful roles that shape the world around us. They may seem similar on the surface, but the difference between them is vast and profound. I'm talking about a wife versus... Yes, it may sound like a dramatic contrast, but stick with me, because what I'm about to share will change your understanding of the true power that rests in the hands of those who influence their families, their homes, and their communities. The power of identity is one of the most profound aspects of who we are and how we engage with the world. A person's identity is not just a reflection of what they do or how they appear, it's the core of their being, the driving force behind every action, every decision. For a wife, her identity is deeply rooted in her role as a partner, a nurturer, a builder of her family and home. It's not a title or a label, it's a purpose. She understands that her strength is drawn not from what she can gain, but from what she can give. Her identity is shaped by love, responsibility, sacrifice, and the vision of creating something greater than herself. A wife sees herself not in isolation, but as part of a greater whole, a family, a community, a legacy. Her identity is centered on her contributions, not just in the material or superficial sense, but in how she shapes the emotional, spiritual, and psychological environment around her. She doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room or seek accolades. Her power comes from the quiet confidence that she is the heart of something much bigger than herself. This identity is one of strength, resilience, and purpose. On the other hand, the identity of a witch is shaped differently. While a wife builds and strengthens, a witch operates from a place of control and manipulation. Her identity is often cloaked in a mask of power, power that is used not to uplift or heal, but to dominate, to bend people and situations to her will. She may wear the guise of confidence, but her true identity is one rooted in fear and insecurity. A witch doesn't see herself as part of something larger. Instead, she seeks to maintain control at any cost. Her identity is one of isolation, of creating division, of placing herself at the center of everything and using others as tools for her gain. Where the wife's identity is bound in love and selflessness, the witch's identity is bound in ego and manipulation. A wife defines herself by her connection to those she loves and serves, while a witch defines herself by her ability to manipulate and control others. The contrast is clear. A wife's identity is a force for creation, for building, for shaping the future. A witch's identity, on the other hand, is a force for destruction, for division, for creating chaos in the lives of those around her. It is through this understanding of identity that we begin to see how each person carries with them the power to shape their surroundings, their relationships, and their futures. The wife, with her rooted sense of self, brings peace and stability. The witch, with her distorted sense of self, brings fear and unrest. The power of identity is not just what we claim for ourselves. It's how we use that identity to impact the lives of others. And that is where the true power lies. Purpose and destiny are often thought of as abstract concepts. But when we look at them closely, we see that they are the very forces that guide and define the direction of our lives. For a wife, her purpose is intertwined with those she loves and serves. It is not a singular journey, but one that encompasses the family, the community, and the broader world. A wife understands that her purpose is to nurture, to create a stable foundation for her loved ones to grow, to build, and to thrive. Her role is not just to care for her children or her husband. It's to foster an environment where each individual can discover their potential, fulfill their own purpose, and contribute to a greater destiny. She sees herself as part of a larger story, not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in shaping the future. This sense of purpose is what drives her forward. Every decision she makes, every act of kindness, every word of encouragement is done with the awareness that she is planting seeds for the future. She doesn't seek immediate recognition or reward because her purpose is long-term. It is in the values she instills, the love she nurtures, and the stability she creates that her true impact is felt. A wife doesn't just exist in the moment. She is building a legacy that will ripple through generations. Her destiny is tied to those she cares for. And through her actions, she shapes not only the lives of her immediate family, but the world at large. In contrast, a witch's purpose is far more self-serving, often rooted in personal desires and an ambition that disregards the well-being of others. A witch operates out of a need to control, to manipulate, and to shape her world according to her will. Her purpose is never about giving or creating. It is always about taking. It is about maintaining power, seeking domination, and manipulating others to meet her needs. A witch's destiny is one of isolation, because at the heart of it, she has severed the connections that truly define a meaningful life. She is not concerned with building relationships, with nurturing those around her, or with creating something that will last. Instead, she creates chaos, division, and confusion, all in the name of securing her own place of power. Her purpose is driven by fear, and her destiny is one of loneliness and emptiness. Because true fulfillment can never come from taking from others. It can only come from giving, from serving, and from lifting others up. The stark contrast between these two paths, one of creation, love, and connection, and the other of destruction, control, and division, highlights the deep importance of knowing one's purpose and understanding the destiny it leads to. The wife's purpose, rooted in love and service, propels her toward a future of unity and growth. The witch's purpose, grounded in selfishness and manipulation, leads her down a path of ruin and solitude. It is not just what we do, but why we do it and who we serve that determines the direction of our lives and the legacy we leave behind. Our purpose shapes our destiny, and the choices we make today will determine the lives we touch tomorrow. When we consider the concept of building versus destroying, we tap into the very core of human existence and the role we choose to play in the world. A wife by nature is a builder. She doesn't just create physical structures or material wealth, but she builds relationships. She builds trust. She builds the emotional and spiritual foundation of her family. She sees herself as part of a larger picture, and her actions reflect the understanding that what she does today will have a lasting impact. She doesn't just care for the present moment. She prepares for the future. Every word of encouragement, every act of sacrifice, every decision she makes is an act of construction, a deliberate effort to strengthen the ties that bind their family together, to create a space where her loved ones can flourish and find their purpose. In her role, she sees the potential in others and she nurtures it. She believes in the growth of her children, her spouse, and even the community around her. The wife builds not only by supporting the growth of others, but by continuously improving herself, by becoming a better partner, a better mother, a better member of her community. She provides the support and structure that allows those around her to rise, to reach higher, and to realize their dreams. A wife knows that the strength of her family is only as strong as the foundation upon which it's built. And she is diligent in ensuring that foundation is solid. On the other hand, a witch operates from a completely different mindset. She is a destroyer, though her methods are often subtle. She doesn't necessarily tear things down with brute force, but she slowly erodes trust, undermines confidence, and spreads discord. A witch seeks to create division, to break the bonds that hold people together, because her sense of power comes from chaos and control. Where a wife fosters unity, a witch fosters dissonance. She plants seeds of doubt, of suspicion, of fear. It is like a slow poison, creates confliction and brokenness that continues. Discipline, battle, relationships from the inside out, leaving behind a weapon of oppressive power, a control, perception, and brokenness. The witch's destruction is not always immediately visible, but its effects are far-reaching. She may cause someone to question their worth, undermine their confidence, or drive wedges between people who once stood together. A wife, in contrast, strengthens. She may not always be seen or heard in the chaos of life, but her steady presence, her consistent love, and a willingness to build others up ensures that the foundation she lays will endure through the trials and storm. The difference is clear. While the wife is a builder who seeks to create something lasting, the witch's destructive influence seeks only to tear down what others have worked to create. Building and destroying aren't just actions. They are mindsets. They are choices we make every day in how we interact with those around us. The wife's mindset is one of cooperation, encouragement, and love. She builds her family, her relationships, and her community by choosing to uplift and support, to create stability and harmony. The witch, on the other hand, chooses a mindset of selfishness, fear, and manipulation. She tears down everything she touches, leaving behind brokenness and uncertainty. We must recognize that we are all builders or destroyers in some way. Whether we choose to be a wife or a witch is not defined by gender, but by the choices we make in how we treat others, how we engage with the world, and how we choose to wield the power of our influence. It is easy to tear down. It takes real strength and character to build. The wife understands that true strength lies in the ability to nurture, to protect, and to help others grow. The witch, however, finds strength in control and manipulation, in the illusion of power that ultimately only weakens her. Love and control are two forces that shape every relationship, and the way we choose between them dictates the quality of the connections we form with others. A wife by nature is driven by love. Love in its purest form is not about possession, dominance, or forcing someone to bend to your will. Love is about mutual respect, understanding, and genuine care. A wife's love is rooted in selflessness. She seeks to serve, to support, and to encourage the growth of her spouse, her children, and her family. She understands that love requires freedom. It requires allowing others to be themselves, to grow into their full potential, even when it means they may change, evolve, or take paths that differ from her own. True love, the love that a wife embodies, seeks no conditions. It isn't about manipulation or expectation. It is an outpouring of grace and understanding. She may disagree, she may face challenges, but her love is unconditional. It doesn't seek to control, rather it seeks to nurture and heal. A wife loves her family, not because she needs to be in control, but because she wants to give and to share, to create an environment where each person can flourish. Her love provides a safe space for her husband to be vulnerable, for her children to make mistakes and learn, and for her family to find peace and stability. She isn't holding them captive with her love. She is setting them free. In contrast, control operates from a place of fear and insecurity. A witch thrives on control because control gives her a sense of power and dominance over others. For the witch, control is not about creating a healthy, thriving relationship. It's about bending others to her will, manipulating situations to her advantage. She is motivated by her own need to feel secure and in charge, often at the expense of others. Where love creates space for growth and understanding, control suffocates and stifles. It demands compliance, obedience, and conformity. It doesn't leave room for personal autonomy or the individual expression of others. Instead, control manipulates others into following a prescribed path, one that serves the witch's desires and fears. Love is expansive. it builds up, it empowers. A wife's love encourages her family to take risks, to pursue their passions, and to be their true selves without fear of rejection or punishment. Control, on the other hand, is constricting. It confines, it limits. A witch's control operates like a prison, one built out of guilt, fear, and manipulation. Those under her control may feel as though they are walking on eggshells, uncertain of how to behave, afraid of displeasing her. The relationship becomes one of dependency, not mutual respect. The witch thrives on maintaining her influence, often using guilt or threats to keep others in line. Her love, if you can even be called that, is conditional. It is earned through submission and compliance. A wife's love is transformational. It draws people together. It builds trust. It fosters open communication, and it creates an atmosphere where individuals can grow together, learning from each other, lifting each other up. A wife understands that her love is powerful not because she controls, but because she creates an environment in which her loved ones feel safe, loved, and valued. Her love offers freedom, the freedom to be vulnerable, the freedom to grow, and the freedom to make mistakes without the threat of punishment or rejection. The witch, in contrast, cannot allow that freedom because freedom undermines control. Control thrives in the absence of trust, in the absence of genuine connection. A witch's relationships are often shallow, built on fear and dependence rather than trust and mutual respect. She cannot allow others to be free because she fears losing her grip, losing her power. So she holds tightly to the reins, pulling, pushing, and manipulating in order to maintain her sense of control. Love and control are two different forces entirely. Where love is about giving, empowering, and uplifting, control is about taking, limiting, and suffocating. A wife understands that true power in a relationship lies in giving others the space to be their authentic selves. A witch, however, believes that power is about taking that space away, about bending others to her will. In the end, love builds deep, lasting connections, while control leads to isolation, resentment, and brokenness. The choice between love and control is the difference between a relationship that flourishes and one that withers. Empowerment and enslavement are two opposing forces that determine the way individuals interact with others and the world around them. Empowerment is a force that liberates, it strengthens and uplifts, enabling individuals to realize their potential and to take charge of their own lives. For a wife, empowerment is not just about her own growth, but about inspiring and empowering those she loves. She understands that true strength lies in lifting others up, giving them the confidence to pursue their own dreams and to become the best version of themselves. A wife's role is to nurture, to provide a safe space where others can feel supported and encouraged, and to guide them in a way that allows them to flourish. She empowers her husband, her children, and her community by helping them see their value, their abilities, and their worth. She doesn't seek to be the center of attention, but rather to empower those around her to find their voice, their path, and their purpose. Her empowerment is rooted in love, selflessness, and belief in the potential of others. A wife's empowerment is also rooted in her own sense of self-worth. She recognizes her value not through comparison to others, but through understanding her own unique strengths and contributions. She is confident in who she is, and that confidence spills over into her relationships. She encourages those around her to be confident in their own abilities as well. She knows that when one person is empowered, it creates a ripple effect. It inspires others to take action, to believe in themselves, and to pursue their own potential. Empowerment for the wife is a collective endeavor. It's about creating an environment where everyone has the opportunity to succeed, to be heard, and to be valued. On the other hand, enslavement is a force that confines, that traps individuals in a cycle of dependence, fear, and manipulation. A witch thrives on enslavement, not through physical chains, but through emotional, psychological, and spiritual control. Enslavement keeps people small, it keeps them from realizing their potential, and it creates a power dynamic in which one person controls the thoughts, actions, and decisions of another. For a witch, enslavement is about maintaining power, controlling others by keeping them dependent on her, stifling their growth and freedom. She may use guilt, fear, or manipulation to ensure that others remain bound to her. She doesn't want people to find their own strength, because that would mean losing her hold over them. Her influence is rooted in control, and she uses that control to create an atmosphere of uncertainty, confusion, and limitation, where empowerment inspires freedom. Enslavement breeds fear and submission. A witch's enslavement often appears in subtle forms. It's not always an overt demand, but rather a quiet manipulation of the people around her. She may prey on insecurities, use emotional blackmail, or create an atmosphere where others feel they cannot live without her approval, her guidance, or her approval. In this space, the witch positions herself as the sole source of strength, leaving others feeling weak, incapable, and dependent. She feeds off of this dependency because it ensures that her power remains intact. Enslavement doesn't only affect the individual, it also harms the collective. When one person is enslaved to another, they lose their autonomy, their voice, and their agency. They become trapped in a cycle of submission, often doubting their own worth and abilities. This dependency not only stifles personal growth, but can also create toxic dynamics in relationships. The enslaved individual may become emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and spiritually bankrupt, while the one who controls feels a false sense of superiority and power. The relationships are imbalanced, unhealthy, and ultimately unsustainable. The wife's empowerment contrasts sharply with the witch's enslavement. Empowerment is about freedom, the freedom to grow, to evolve, and to reach one's potential. A wife empowers not just through words, but through action. She leads by example, showing others what it looks like to be confident, to stand strong, and to support one another. She doesn't need to control others to feel secure in her own worth. The witch, however, seeks only to control. She derives her sense of power from keeping others weak, from preventing them from discovering their own strengths. She manipulates, intimidates, and forces others into submission, often leaving them feeling powerless, incapable, and trapped. Empowerment builds trust, freedom, and growth. It invites others to step into their own power, to believe in their abilities, and to become agents of change in their own lives. Enslavement, on the other hand, breeds fear, dependence, and stagnation. It keeps people locked in a cycle of limitation, never allowing them to step into their true potential. The difference between the two is stark. Empowerment opens doors. Enslavement shuts them. Empowerment creates lasting, healthy relationships built on mutual respect and support, while enslavement creates toxic, one-sided dynamics that ultimately lead to destruction. The choice between empowerment and enslavement lies within us all. We choose whether to empower others through love, support, and encouragement, or to manipulate and control, keeping others bound to our will. The power we wield in our relationships can either lift others to new heights or trap them in a cycle of fear and dependence. The question is, which force will we choose to embrace in our lives? Communication and deception are two forces that shape the way we interact with the world and with those around us. Communication in its purest form is about connection. It's about sharing thoughts, feelings, and ideas in a way that fosters understanding and builds relationships. For a wife, Communication is the cornerstone of every successful partnership. It's about transparency, honesty, and trust. She communicates openly and vulnerably with her spouse, expressing her thoughts and emotions without fear of judgment or rejection. She listens with empathy, seeking to understand before being understood. Her words are carefully chosen, designed to uplift, to encourage, and to foster harmony within the family. Through communication, she creates an environment where dialogue flows freely, where both she and her husband feel heard and respected. For a wife, communication isn't just about the exchange of information, it's about building connection, deepening trust, and cultivating a bond that can withstand the challenges of life. She doesn't avoid difficult conversations, but instead faces them with courage and a willingness to work through problems together. Communication in a healthy marriage allows both partners to feel safe and supported, knowing that they can express their needs, their concerns, and their dreams without fear of misunderstanding or manipulation. A wife uses her words as a tool to create understanding and foster growth, both individually and as a couple. Her communication is an expression of love and respect, a bridge between herself and her loved ones that strengthens the foundation of their relationship. In stark contrast, deception is a force that divides. It is rooted in manipulation and concealment, designed to mislead, confuse, and create doubt. A witch thrives on deception. She uses lies, half-truths, and misdirection to maintain control over others, weaving a web of confusion that keeps people from seeing the truth. Deception is a tool for the witch's survival. It's how she keeps others off balance, unsure of where they stand or who they can trust. She may offer false assurances, create illusions of understanding, or tell convenient lies to avoid confrontation, but the ultimate goal is to keep control over her relationships and situations. Through deception, she holds people at arm's length, never allowing them to truly see her, and never allowing them to get close enough to see her true intentions. Her words are weapons, designed to serve an agenda, regardless of the harm they may cause others. Where communication seeks to clarify and connect, deception seeks to obscure and manipulate. A wife's communication invites understanding, drawing her closer to those she loves, while deception creates distance, keeping others at bay and preventing true intimacy. The witch's deception may appear harmless on the surface, but it is ultimately destructive. It causes confusion, breeds distrust, and undermines the relationships it touches. When someone is being deceived, they are kept in a state of uncertainty, unsure of what's true, what's real, and who they can rely on. It erodes the foundation of trust that is necessary for any meaningful connection to exist. Deception also creates a false sense of security. The witch may lie or manipulate to create an image of control or power, but this image is built on shaky ground. While communication builds lasting, authentic relationships based on mutual respect and understanding, deception builds fragile walls that are destined to fall. Eventually, the truth will surface, and when it does, the damage that deception causes is often far worse than if the truth had been shared from the beginning. The witch may momentarily feel empowered by her lies, but over time, her deception isolates her. She becomes more entrenched in her web of manipulation, unable to form genuine connections, and ultimately losing the trust and love of those around her. The wife understands the power of honest communication. She understands that it's not just about talking, it's about creating an environment where both partners feel safe enough to express their innermost thoughts, fears, and desires. It's about building a relationship based on authenticity, where each person can be their true self without fear of judgment or manipulation. She knows that through communication, they can work through their differences, celebrate their victories, and grow together. Communication strengthens the bonds between them, making their connection deeper and more resilient. The witch, however, builds her relationships on deception, and the price she pays is one of loneliness and disconnection. She may control situations in the short term, but in the long run, her reliance on lies and manipulation leaves her isolated. She never truly allows others to see her for who she is, and therefore she never allows herself to experience the kind of love, connection, and understanding that comes from genuine communication. While the wife creates relationships built on trust and respect. The witch creates relationships built on lies and fear. Communication builds understanding, trust, and intimacy. It fosters growth, connection, and emotional health. Deception, on the other hand, tears down those very things. It undermines trust, creates confusion, and ultimately destroys the relationships it touches. The difference between the two forces could not be more profound. One leads to deep, lasting connections, and the other to isolation, brokenness, and distrust. When we choose communication over deception, we choose to build bridges, to nurture relationships, and to live in truth. When we choose deception, we choose to destroy the very bonds that hold us together. Support and sabotage are two forces that can shape the trajectory of any relationship. And the way we engage with them determines not only our personal success, but also the success of those around us. Support is rooted in encouragement, trust, and the belief in the potential of others. For a wife, support is one of the cornerstones of her relationship. She offers unwavering encouragement no matter the challenges that may come. Her support isn't conditional or based on what she can gain, but instead it stems from a deep understanding that her role is to uplift and empower her partner. She believes in him even when he struggles to believe in himself. Her support is a constant through the good times and the hard times, helping him reach for greater heights, pushing him to become a better version of himself, and standing by his side through the journey of growth and change. A wife's support goes beyond just cheering on a partner. It's about offering practical help, being a sounding board and providing wisdom and guidance when needed. She creates an environment where her partner feels safe to take risks, to pursue dreams, and to face challenges with the assurance that someone is there with them every step of the way. Her support is not about doing everything for him, but about empowering him to do things for himself, knowing that she is there to back him up. This kind of support builds trust, deepens the bond between them, and strengthens their relationship, as both partners know they can rely on one another in times of need. On the other hand, sabotage is the destructive counterpart to support. Where support builds, sabotage tears down. A witch thrives on sabotage. Not necessarily through overt actions, but through subtle undermining, manipulation, and the sowing of seeds of doubt. She doesn't want others to succeed, especially not her partner, because her own sense of power comes from keeping others down, making them feel inadequate or incapable. Sabotage is about creating obstacles and hindrances, whether through direct actions or by manipulating circumstances to ensure that someone's efforts fall short. A witch may engage in emotional sabotage, causing her partner to doubt his abilities, his worth, or his dreams. She may offer backhanded compliments or create situations where his failures are amplified, subtly reminding him of his limitations. The witch's sabotage often stems from her own insecurities or fears. She is unable to handle seeing others rise because it threatens her own position. Her actions may appear caring on the surface, but beneath them is a desire to keep others small, to prevent them from becoming more than she perceives herself to be. Sabotage is a tool of control. By keeping others down, she maintains the illusion of superiority and control. She may even disguise her actions as concern, but in reality, she is working against the success of those around her. A wife, however, does not seek to control or undermine her partner's success. Her support comes from a place of love and genuine care. She celebrates his victories and lifts him up in times of defeat. She wants to see him succeed, to achieve his goals, and to find fulfillment in life. Her support doesn't come from a place of competition, but from a place of collaboration. She is not threatened by his potential or his achievements. Instead, she finds joy in seeing him grow and become the person he was meant to be. Her love for him empowers her to be his biggest cheerleader, to offer practical and emotional support when needed, and to help him navigate the challenges of life without ever trying to tear him down. Sabotage, on the other hand, breeds a toxic atmosphere of distrust, resentment, and insecurity. It undermines the very foundation of a relationship by creating division and competition where there should be unity and mutual respect. Sabotage never builds. It only destroys. When sabotage enters a relationship, it clouds everything with negativity. Instead of working together toward shared goals, partners become adversaries, and trust is eroded. The witch may succeed in temporarily gaining control, but in the long run, she isolates herself from true connection and love. Her manipulation ensures that no one around her can truly thrive, because she fears losing her grip on the power she has constructed. The difference between support and sabotage is not just in what they do, but in what they leave behind. Support creates an atmosphere of security, love, and growth. It nurtures relationships and helps individuals reach their fullest potential. Sabotage, on the other hand, creates confusion, insecurity, and division. It breeds a lack of trust and leaves behind brokenness, even if it seems harmless at first. Support is about lifting others up, empowering them to succeed, and believing in their ability to overcome challenges. Sabotage is about keeping others down, creating barriers to their success, and limiting their growth. When we choose to support, we choose to invest in others, to help them rise, and to create an environment where they feel safe to pursue their dreams. When we choose to sabotage, we choose to hold others back, to diminish their potential, and to destroy the very things that make relationships healthy and fruitful. The impact of support is lasting. It builds, it strengthens, and it nurtures. The impact of sabotage is fleeting but harmful. It destroys, it isolates, and it causes lasting damage to trust and connection. The choice between support and sabotage is one that determines the nature of our relationships and the impact we have on the lives of others. It's a choice that shapes not only the present, but the future as well. Sacrifice and selfishness represent two very different ways of approaching life and relationships. And the way we engage with these two forces shapes our character and the lives of those around us. Sacrifice is the act of giving up something valuable for the benefit of others, often requiring personal discomfort, effort, or loss. It's an expression of love, of commitment, and of a deeper understanding that life is not just about what we can gain, but what we can give. A wife's sacrifice is seen in countless ways, big and small. She sacrifices time, energy, and resources to ensure the well-being of her family, to nurture her children, and to support her husband in his own endeavors. She doesn't count the cost, but she gives willingly, knowing that her sacrifices are not in vain, but are an investment in the future of her loved ones. Sacrifice for a wife is not just about enduring hardship. It's about placing the needs of others ahead of her own, but in a way that doesn't diminish her value. In fact, her sacrifices enrich her life because they create an environment of love, trust, and shared purpose. She understands that through sacrifice, she is contributing to something much greater than herself: the growth and well-being of the family unit. It's through her willingness to put others before herself that the family thrives. She doesn't seek recognition or reward for her sacrifices. They are made out of genuine love and a sense of duty. Her willingness to give is a reflection of her deep commitment to those she loves, and through her sacrifices, she teaches her children the value of selflessness, compassion, and the importance of caring for others. Selfishness, in stark contrast, is the desire to prioritize one's own needs, wants, and desires above everything else. It is a mindset that sees the world as revolving around the individual, where others exist merely to serve or benefit the self. A witch embodies selfishness. She seeks to take, to control, and to manipulate in order to fulfill her own desires, regardless of the cost to those around her. She may appear charming, even loving at times, but at the core of her actions is a desire to preserve her own comfort, status, and control. Our witch's actions are motivated by a fear of losing power, a desire to always be in control, and an unwillingness to sacrifice anything for the sake of others. She might demand attention, manipulate situations to her advantage, or use others to get what she wants, all the while disregarding the needs or feelings of those around her. Selfishness is often rooted in insecurity and a lack of understanding that true fulfillment comes from connection and contribution to the well-being of others. A selfish person feels that by giving, they are somehow losing, so they hoard their resources, their time and their energy, always protecting themselves from what they perceive as potential loss. In relationships, selfishness manifests in ways that undermine trust and love. A selfish individual may withhold affection, emotional support, or even material resources because they view these things as currency to be spent only when it benefits them. They may never ask how their partner is doing or seek to meet their needs, as their focus remains solely on their own desires and comfort. The consequences of selfishness are far-reaching. It creates a dynamic where love is transactional, not unconditional. Relationships based on selfishness are often shallow, driven by what each person can get from the other rather than what they can give. Over time, selfishness erodes the connection between people, leaving behind feelings of resentment, isolation, and unfulfilled needs. While the selfish person may feel temporarily satisfied by getting what they want, they ultimately miss out on the deep, lasting fulfillment that comes from mutual giving and shared sacrifice. The witch, in her selfishness, isolates herself from genuine love and support because her actions are rooted in fear and control. She may accumulate power or material wealth, but she lacks the richness of true, meaningful relationships built on sacrifice, understanding, and selflessness. Sacrifice, in contrast, creates an entirely different environment. It fosters unity, growth, and mutual respect. It's not about giving up everything or neglecting oneself, but about understanding that true joy comes from the act of giving and investing in others. Sacrifice builds trust and strengthens bonds because it's done with the awareness that through giving, something much greater is being created. An environment of love, stability, and mutual care. A wife's sacrifice doesn't take away from her, it enhances her sense of purpose and fulfillment. When she sacrifices for her loved ones, she's not diminishing her value. She is adding to the richness of her life and the lives of those she cares for. Selfishness, on the other hand, leaves a person feeling empty, even if they have all the material comforts they desire. It's a life lived in constant self-preservation, never allowing oneself to truly experience the fullness of connection and community. A selfish person may accumulate wealth, attention, or power, but they remain fundamentally disconnected from others, unable to experience the deep satisfaction that comes from shared love, sacrifice, and mutual support. In relationships, selfishness creates distance, while sacrifice draws people closer. It's in the act of giving that we find our greatest fulfillment and joy, because we are not living for ourselves alone, but for the good of others as well. In the end, sacrifice and selfishness are not just behaviors. They are mindsets that shape the course of our lives and our relationships. Sacrifice allows us to build a life of meaning, love, and connection, while selfishness keeps us locked in a cycle of fear, isolation, and unmet needs. Choosing sacrifice is choosing a life of purpose and mutual support. Choosing selfishness is choosing to miss out on the profound joy and fulfillment that comes from sharing, giving, and truly connecting with others. The life we build is shaped by the choices we make in how we give or withhold, how we love or hoard, how we serve or demand. Sacrifice enriches the soul, while selfishness leaves it starving. Healing and harm are two forces that can deeply influence our lives, our relationships, and our sense of well-being. Healing is the restorative force that nurtures growth, repair, and wholeness. It is not always immediate or easy, but it is transformative. Healing is about acknowledging pain or brokenness and allowing the space and time for it to be addressed and mended. A wife, in her healing role, brings peace, comfort, and understanding to her family. She understands that healing doesn't always mean erasing the pain, but rather offering support, encouragement, and love as the wounds are tended to. Her healing is often quiet and subtle, like the steady flow of water that softens the hardest stone. She is there to listen, to comfort, to offer solutions when appropriate, and to simply be a steady presence in times of hurt. Her role is not to fix everything, but to create an environment where healing can occur, where wounds can be exposed and worked through without fear of judgment or abandonment. Healing also requires patience and understanding. It's about recognizing that each individual's journey to healing is unique. A wife, in her wisdom, knows that healing takes time. She doesn't push her partner or children to get over it, but instead allows them to process their emotions in their own time and space. She understands that healing requires vulnerability, something that only occurs in a safe, supportive environment. Through her empathy and nurturing, she offers a sense of security and reassurance, ensuring that healing is possible and that no one has to face their struggles alone. Her love is an active force of healing, not a passive one. She is there, steadfast and unwavering, offering her care in whatever form is needed, whether that's a kind word, a hug, or simply being present without expectation. On the opposite side of healing stands harm, a destructive force that erodes trust, causes pain, and deepens wounds. Harm comes in many forms, from physical abuse to emotional manipulation, and from neglect to betrayal. A witch embodies harm in its most insidious form, operating under the guise of control, dominance, or self-interest. Harm is about inflicting pain, whether intentionally or unintentionally, for personal gain or as a result of unresolved issues. For a witch, harm can be a weapon used to assert power or to maintain control over others. She may use her words to tear others down, manipulating emotions to create doubt or shame. She may act in ways that keep others feeling small, unworthy, or unimportant. Harm is often born from a place of insecurity or fear, a desire to protect oneself at the expense of others. It seeks to destroy, to create division, and to break down, rather than build up. Harm is often subtle at first. It may come in the form of criticism masked as concern, or in passive-aggressive comments designed to undermine a person's confidence. It could also manifest as neglect, emotionally withdrawing when support is needed most, or even physical harm through violence or intimidation. Regardless of its form, harm creates an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, and emotional turmoil. It doesn't allow people to be vulnerable or authentic, because vulnerability is seen as weakness that can be exploited. A witch's harm keeps others off balance, always second-guessing themselves, always unsure of where they stand. It makes people question their worth, their abilities, and their ability to trust. The damage caused by harm is far-reaching. It doesn't just affect the moment, it affects the long-term emotional and psychological well-being of the individuals involved. Harm can create scars that take years to heal, if they ever fully heal at all. It can lead to broken relationships, shattered self-esteem, and deep wounds that are difficult to overcome. While healing mends and restores, harm leaves behind a trail of destruction that is difficult to repair. The witch may cause harm in ways that seem invisible at first, but over time, its effects become painfully evident. People who have been harmed begin to withdraw, to build walls around their hearts, and to doubt their ability to form healthy, trusting relationships. Trust, once broken, is not easily restored. Healing, however, has the power to reverse much of the damage caused by harm. It cannot erase the past, but it can offer a path forward. Healing is a conscious choice to embrace the discomfort of confronting pain in order to create a healthier, more whole future. It requires empathy, understanding, and a willingness to face difficult truths. The process of healing is not linear. It may involve setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when progress feels slow. But healing is powerful because it works from the inside out, transforming the brokenness into something stronger, something more resilient. A wife's healing presence is often what holds the space for others to heal, providing the care and attention needed to foster recovery. Harm may be the result of selfishness, fear, manipulation, but healing comes from love, compassion, and a desire to see others grow and thrive. Where harm breaks down, healing builds up. Where harm causes isolation, healing invites connection. Healing is about wholeness and restoration, and while it requires effort, it ultimately leads to greater strength and understanding. A wife's ability to heal both herself and those around her is a testament to the power of love and grace. Through her nurturing, she helps others to rise above the wounds inflicted by harm, showing them that they can overcome, they can heal, and they can move forward. Healing and harm are forces that shape every interaction, every relationship, and every community. Healing requires vulnerability, patience, and a commitment to the well-being of others, while harm thrives on control, manipulation, and destruction. The choice between the two is clear. One leads to growth, connection, and restoration, while the other leads to pain, isolation, and brokenness. Healing doesn't erase the scars of the past, but it offers the possibility of a brighter, more hopeful future, while harm can leave behind a lifetime of unresolved pain and division. The choice, in the end, is ours, whether we contribute to the healing of others or the harm that keeps them stuck in their pain. Legacy is more than just what we leave behind in material terms. It is the impact we have on the world and the lives we touch during our time here. It is the mark we leave on our loved ones, our communities, and even on the generations that follow us. Legacy is shaped by our actions, our choices, and the way we live out our values. It speaks to the essence of what we stand for, what we believe in, and how we choose to contribute to the world. A wife, through her everyday acts of love, support, and sacrifice, builds a legacy that is felt by everyone around her. Her legacy isn't always something that is immediately seen or recognized, but it lives on in the lives of her children, her spouse, and the people she touches throughout her life. A wife's legacy is one of nurturing, of creating a space for growth, for care, and for the flourishing of those she loves. She instills values of kindness, resilience, and empathy in her children, showing them through her actions what it means to love selflessly and to give without expecting anything in return. Her influence often transcends time and space, as the lessons she teaches, the love she shares, and the example she sets continue to resonate long after she is gone. The legacy of a wife is woven into the fabric of her family, carrying on traditions, memories, and the values that she held dear. Her legacy is not always in grand gestures, but often in the quiet, everyday acts of care and compassion that define the rhythm of family life. But legacy is not just about what we give to others in terms of love or emotional support. It is also about how we shape the future. A wife contributes to the legacy of future generations by creating a home that fosters growth and opportunity. She nurtures not only the hearts and minds of her children, but also the relationships they form and the contributions they will make to the world. Zalansino kanangaman, volde arokaneman. It's not. A wife's legacy is carried through the choices she makes about how she raises her family, the values she instills, and the environment she creates. She doesn't just pass on what was handed to her. She builds a foundation for her family to stand on and rise higher. The sacrifices she makes, the way she shows up every day, and the example she sets all contribute to a lasting legacy of love, wisdom, and strength. A wife's legacy is also seen in the love and respect she builds in her relationship with a partner. By showing loyalty, understanding, and kindness, she creates a partnership that is strong and enduring. Through the challenges and the triumphs, she builds a relationship that stands as a model of what commitment, trust, and mutual respect look like. The way she loves her spouse leaves a lasting impression, not just on her marriage, but on the way her children view relationships, love, and connection. Her legacy is carried forward in the example she sets of what it means to be a supportive, loving partner, showing that true partnership is built on love, respect, and shared purpose. In a broader sense, legacy is also about how we engage with the world around us. It is how we use our talents, time, and resources to contribute to something larger than ourselves. A wife's legacy can extend beyond her home and family into her community and society, the way she cares for others, volunteers her time, or advocates for those who need support, creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond her immediate circle. Her legacy is seen in the way she touches lives, empowers others, and leaves the world in a better place than she found it. Whether she's mentoring others, supporting charitable causes, or offering a listening ear to those in need, the impact of her actions leaves an imprint on the world that can be felt long after she is gone. Legacy is not something that is simply handed down from one generation to the next. It is something that is created and cultivated in the way we live each day. It is the decisions we make, the love we give, and the influence we have on the people around us. A wife's legacy is shaped by her character, her actions, and her unwavering commitment to her family, to her partner, and to the world she touches. It is a living, breathing thing that grows over time, expanding and influencing the world in ways both big and small. Legacy is the sum of everything we do, how we love, how we lead, how we serve, and how we contribute to the lives of others. It is the lasting impact we have on those we love, the values we pass down, and the memories we create. A wife's legacy is one of love, devotion, and sacrifice, a testament to her commitment to her family, her partner, and the world. It is not just the stories that are told about her when she's gone, but the lives she touched, the hearts she healed, and the example she set for those who follow. Her legacy lives on, carried through the actions of those she loved, the values she instilled, and the life she led. A life full of purpose, love, and meaning. In the end, the legacy we leave is not determined by the material possessions we accumulate or the fleeting accolades we receive, but by the way we impact the lives of others. A wife's legacy is a reflection of the love, sacrifice, and wisdom she shares. It is seen in the lives she touches, the relationships she nurtures, and the values she imparts to the next generation. It is not always grand, but it is profound, resonating through every small act of kindness, every decision made with love, and every moment she chooses to give of herself for the betterment of those around her. As we reflect on the power of legacy, let us remember that we all have the ability to shape the future by the choices we make today. The love we offer, the lessons we teach, and the way we live our lives have the power to echo through time. Our legacy is not defined by the years we live, but by the hearts we touch and the difference we make. Let us be intentional in the way we live, the way we love, and the way we serve, knowing that every moment contributes to the legacy we leave behind. When we choose to build a legacy of love, care, and purpose, we create a future that is brighter and more connected for those who come after us.